Right, so we have here a Remington 700 Sons scope mount. It did have a pair of separate little Picatinny type bases and they weren't very great. It did have a couple of like separate Picatinny bases. They weren't great. UTG Picatinny scope mount. So this was £20 for a steel Picatinny scope mount. I thought that was a bargain personally. We have leapers, we have an American phone number, and we have made in China. Oops. I hope that was in shot. Made in China. Trump will be irritated. Is it any good? I don't know yet, because I'm literally only just taking it out of the packet. Oops, shit. One thing I do like straight out the box, though, is there are 2 holes each, and it comes with 3 of each screw size. I admire that. Gives you a spare screw. Oh, God. It's also very well sealed in its packaging. I hope that... Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, 3 of each screw. There's one. Yeah. And we have a hex key, a spare hex key. Lovely. Here's the actual Picatinny rail. First impressions. I'd say that's painted rather than any sort of surface treatment. Very rough. Can you see the texture there? Hasn't been smoothed off or anything. Yeah. Most important thing though, oh, by the way, quick pause. You're so close in. There we go. Yeah. So, is it going to fit? Cut out there. Right-handed action. What you're looking for is for it to not be rocking at all. Yeah, look, we're holding the back down and the front is rocking ever so slightly. Holes line up okay. Right. If I was you, when you fit this, I'd bed it. Yeah, I would use some sort of bedding compound on that, but that is pretty... Let's try it. Now what we've got to do is work out where the long screws go and where the short ones go. Short. You see, you can see. Yeah, you can see that hole's not very deep. Neither is that one. And then these, there's more depth to them. I hope you can see that. And that transfers across as well. There's more threads at the back by looks than there is at the front. That's what I'm going for anyway. Let's see. Oof. It's not amazing. I have to say, it's really not amazing. So far, it's looking like £20 worth. £20 times that by 1.3. So add 6, $26. But the way things are, I bet it's like $10 in the US. Okay. Well, the screws fit. That's a good start. Yeah, it's still rocking. Ooh, I do not like this thing. Now, ordinarily, I wouldn't have done what I've just done. But what I want to do is see whether this front screw will actually go in with the back too tight. No, not a chance. Yeah. You always want to just use the screws to locate, don't tighten, because otherwise you've got no chance of getting them to fit. Let's see. That is not going to fit. goes in. I think you saw what I had to do there. Come all the way out and then push it through. And then, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, I'm sure you can hear me heavy breathing and sighing. It's because, personally, I think this is shit. Alright. Actually seems to have located now. Right. Okay. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to start on the tightening sequence. Okay, so always, and I'm probably getting very boring with my Picatinny rail videos, always tighten that, like that. Logical sequence working outwards. Nice and tight. Never feel like you need to monkey them up either. Okay. Look how loose that one was. Okay, that's perfectly tight. Okay, I'm going to go down to it. Awful. I've just broken my camera mount. Oh, well, never mind. Yeah, there we go. I mean, it's not awful. I can't see any daylight underneath of it. If you're on a budget, okay, if you're on a budget, you consider it, but at the same time, consider getting a second-hand one like Britannia or something like that. I'd always far rather buy second-hand quality than brand new shite, personally. Okay, well, that's that. Well, this rifle is kind of an M40 tribute. Quite nice. Beautiful. Yeah. Very nice. One thing when stocking up though, paint. So, recoil lug at the front. If you've painted your stock and you think, right, let's reassemble, and the bastard just won't go together, check whether there's a load of paint in the slot for the recoil lug, because on this occasion there was. I've had to chisel it all out, chisel the paint out to get the recoil lug into position. Could do with bedding to pack it out the front. Never mind, we're not going to go there today. Yeah, check that before thinking, oh my god, it doesn't fit, or if you bought a painted stock, whatever. It could well be that. Very annoying. That took fucking ages and pissed me right off. Right, next thing, you can see some scope mounts here. And here are some Hawke steel scope mounts. I want to talk about selecting scope mounts. Here we have a Redfield scope and kind of green anodized effect. So you are going to, I'm going to move the camera. First things first, I would always, buy your rifle, fit your rail, if you're going for a rail, then buy your mounts. Because what you're looking for is always the clearance. You want it. I like my scopes as low as possible, but not touching. Oh, done. Let's zoom out. And I can't. Well, never mind. Anyway. Yeah, I like it as low as possible, but not touching. Got to allow clearance for the saddle. We've had that discussion before. The front bell, and also you've got to allow for your scope covers. Now, if you've got AO, adjustable objective, remember that this here and these will protrude more. So as you rotate that front adjustable objective, if the whole thing moves, i.e. your scope cover as well, you've got to allow clearance for that when selecting your mounts. How do you select your mounts? Right, first things first, measure. I'm going to move the camera angle again. Hope no one suffers from seasickness. There we go. So, stop saying so. I personally would use vernier, but I don't know why this keeps doing this. It keeps zeroing itself when you switch it off at some strange dimension. Anyway, let's change it over to Imperial for our friends over the pond. Here we go. Measure that and imagine. Best thing is measure your diameter, like so. That is diameter of the lens cover. There we go. What have we got? 1.94 for simplicity, let's call it 2. Then measure your protrusion, like that, subtract, so let's call it 0.2 of an inch. These we don't have to worry about because they don't protrude as far as that. So you've got to allow for that extra 0.2 of an inch when selecting your scope mount. So you're looking really for something that's going to give 2.42 inches overall of clearance. You're going to divide that by 2, call it 1.21. Then, got an inch tube on this occasion. That really comes across weird on the camera. What you've got to do is look at this dimension here. Now, some companies are very helpful and they will give you 0.26. They will give you the dimension from the center line there to the bottom. Let's do that. That is 0.78. We're going to go to these Hawkes. So these are advertised as an 8.6 millimeter from here to the bottom there. And what does that give? That gives us 0.85 there. 0.85 plus that 0.3, so we have 0.85 plus 0.3 would be 1.15. Putting aside all this talk of protrusions, because it doesn't matter, because this one is not going to rotate. 1.97, I'm going to call that 2 for ease, so we need an inch from the center line, the center of the tube, to the bottom of this, inch diameter clearance with the barrel. And with these Hawke mounts, we have got, there we go, 0.88. And with the Picatinny rail, we have got an additional, I'm calling it 0.3. That is 0.88 plus 1.18. Plenty of clearance. Nice amount of clearance. Let's undo this. Extreme close-up of me touching a mount. Put that on there. Another test for the UTG. Do Picatinny rail mounts fit? Or do they rattle? It fits. Beautiful. I've gone for these Hawke quick release mounts because they're quick release. Okay. I must confess I like a nice set of quick release mounts because you can quickly switch between optics. So you can have, in this instance, have this nice classically styled replica Redfield. Excuse me burping. There we go. Oh, I like these Hawke mounts, by the way. Double screw, good quality. Quick release, very cool. Steel, like it. Chinese manufacture? Yeah. Let's hope they're not made from solid Chinesium. Or should that be, let's hope they're made from solid Chinesium as opposed to cheesy Chinesium. Oh, there we go. Where are you still attached? There. Pop scope in. A lot of clearance. But bear in mind the barrel tapers quite a bit. If that had been carried on straight. Right. So here we have the end result of this endeavour. You can see quite a bit of clearance here. Imagine if that had carried on straight past. You'd only have had a few millimetres of clearance, but the barrel tapers down. This is the second part of what to take into account. Do you want it down low, hugging, in which case you also need to measure here, or do you want to have it so you've got a decent amount of clearance like that? Just another point to think about with your mounts. You need to make sure that the bolt can open and close smoothly and allow you room. Look at that. Huh? My fingers do not have much room there. No, okay, that's not normally how you do it. Normally it'd be more like this. See? Boom. Yeah. So I was thinking to myself, maybe this could have done with being a bit lower. Actually, this is a point, as I say. Oh, yeah. That's going to get old quick.